sense, like in the, spiritual realm, as far as like good and evil, or darkness and light, the kingdom of darkness, and I'm not talking good about these characters. I'm not talking good about these entities. But what I am saying is, they may not play fair, but well, they kind of do though. They kind of do. So these clowns with a badge, or a title, or a gavel, or a robe, or a clipboard, or whatever it is, these people that do whatever they want, and they get they reap no consequences, immediately, or like seemingly they're not, they seem to be able to do whatever they want. I'm not saying that God's doing it on purpose, but I will say this. I read somewhere that Target has Target surveillance cameras. Let me look them out real quick. Don't leave that. You okay, baby? I cannot believe you. I don't know if this is true or not. And this has been years ago, and I'm just saying I read it like on a Reddit post or something. But something about Target's surveillance cameras, or like their system for theft and stuff, like prevention laws. It's their technology is more sophisticated and like higher whatever than like the CIA and stuff. Like it's very highly like whatever. I don't even know the words to describe it. That's how fancy it is. But I'm saying this to say that I read that they will, and this kind of made me laugh a little bit. It's kind of like, well, that's humans for you, but there's certain, like, as far as like theft, in the as far as like the law goes, for it to be like a misdemeanor or like a felony offense or whatever, or like the consequences, I guess, are more severe based on the amount, like the estimated dollar amount of like what was stolen, So basically what I'm trying to say, and I'm drawing it out, but basically they'll have like facial recognition, all kinds of like sophisticated ways of like watching these people, and they will let them get away with it over and over and over. Because they're not letting them get away with it. They're letting them rack up enough merchandise, like enough, for them to have like an amount of money that they've stolen, and it be, like $850 or whatever, $200, I don't know, however much it is, for it to be like a more severe punishment. And then literally one of the guys on Reddit was like, yeah, my dumbass friend would go in there and literally like steal everything except like the foundation of the store. Like literally was just like going bonkers for like years, or like a really, really long time. Like really just like, no. Would be like, hey guys, like, you're like, is that a Corvette? He's like, yeah, who knew Target even had these? Like, well, that was the employees probably, but like this dude was like just getting crazy with it. And then no lie from a reliable source, on a Reddit post from like 2007, a guy named Kevin G Money 07 said, so it's facts. He said that like the guy fell on hard times for whatever reason. I don't know why. The guy seemed like a stand-up guy. Like, what? That lifestyle isn't like it's not like sustainable for long periods of time. Went in there and got like a rotisserie chicken or something. Really was just trying to like get some, literally like stealing a chicken, like stealing dinner. And that was like the bing, like just put him right over the edge. I'm telling you, like, I don't know how they calculated it. I don't know. Or maybe maybe it wasn't a monetary number as much as it was like let's get him. This dude's hungry. He got him a garlic, like a garlic, lemon, whatever, rotisserie chicken. I don't even know if they sell those at Target. It was chicken. I remember it was chicken. It might have been like a whoop whoop. Do they sell like live chickens at Target? Whoop whoop, chicken. What do you think Target chickens would look like? They'd be roosters. They'd be from Target. They'd be like, how do you think a rooster? Isn't Target like French? Aren't they the French? Do you think they even have roosters in France? They probably don't. I'm pretty sure that's an American thing. I think the birds, and I think actually birds in general. I don't think that I think that that's something that's very exclusive to our continent even. I mean, and really I say continent, but I mean, I want to say like the contingent United States. Like, I've even heard before that birds literally can't even cross over the borders unless they, I mean, like it's a thing. I'm like a bird on the way. Oh, unless you're going to Canada, 'cause I haven't got my passport. But all I need for you to know is, if you go there, they say A, and they say pardon, and they say loo and washroom instead of the bathroom. I took it way too far. I really did. But I do know this. I'm tired of you yelling at me all the time, Roscoe. I don't know when this started. I mean, come see. Not you. When did you start this whining thing where you're like, you are really not a teenage boy anymore? He's a 28-year-old man right now yelling and whining at me, talking about like, I don't even know what he's talking about, honestly. I don't know. Because he's just all the time, just me all the time. It's like, dude, give it a rest. You know? I tell him all the time, that's why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth and 4 legs and a fluffy butt. So you just sit there and you look cute and you just be quiet. You just be quiet. What's so hard about that? It's been 26 minutes. So it's been an hour and 36 minutes. And I still haven't got an answer yet from y'all. What's so hard about just being quiet for a minute? I don't get it. Ooh, I love her. Anyway, so to sum it all up, don't buy rotisserie chicken from Target, because if they are saying that it's from France, they're lying. And I don't even know how. Yeah, so I don't need to get bogged down with that. Just don't, because facial recognition and these higher up, entities in like the spiritual realms, they do represent everything that is evil and wrong and like disgusting and immoral and against God, and it's not cool at all. But I will say they do have from what I can understand, they have a pretty good system going, and they do really have a lot of structure, and I do respect that. And while they may not play fair in some ways, they kind of do, have a little bit of like, consistency, and like they have at least a respect for like, law and order in that sense. And so I'm saying this to say, if you think that because you've stole all this shit from Target, chances are that rotisserie chicken, you're probably not even that hungry. It's still the same. You realize nothing else has made you happy, but you just can't even help yourself. You're just going to steal that damn rotisserie chicken that they probably don't even sell there. But I'm telling you, if God, like I said, I don't know. At the very least, you're making your team look bad. You're embarrassing them because they don't act that way. They brought you to the golf course and you're out there freaking pounding like Jack and Coke and like hitting on, you're like, you gotta stop, because they might not be good people, but they're not like sloppy, they're not stealing chickens from Target. I can promise you that. And if God is by some chance behind the, surveillance, like watching, and he's, I don't doubt God, as far as I know, like it's not funny. I mean, maybe it is. He might be watching you going, bang that gavel. Every time you do these things that are wrong, that it's not justice, that you are manipulating and misusing and, really just like you are defiling and obliterating everything that was designed in order to help us thrive and have justice and have peace and help people when they need help and have, accountability and all these things and have like a peaceful like society that is able to function like within reason. Y'all are using that to your advantage, and it's not okay. So every time that you do it, you think it's like, okay, a little more. And then you push it more and more and more and more and more. And I'm telling you, and in these cases, in these scenarios, I don't think it'll be the rotisserie chicken that does you over in the end. I think it'll be something a lot worse. It may put you over the edge, but no, I don't think it works like that. No, you are being held accountable. Your actions are being recorded and documented, and you will face judgment for them one day. Especially ironically, if you are a judge or anyone in a position of authority that is able to, make these calls, and you're not doing it under God's judgment. You're not looking to God in everything to guide you, to lead you, to instruct you, to hold this position and carry it out in a way that protects and serves justice and keeps order and respect and peace amongst his people. When you are doing it for your own selfish gain, you are hurting his people. And I'm telling you, just because he's let you do it once, don't get comfortable. Or do. You know what? I don't think God he gets no satisfaction out of his wrath, that I know of. I don't know. But he's not going to beg you. Do it again. Keep doing it. Because he's gonna do what he has to do, because his word is his word, and it's never gonna not be. Everyone's gonna be held accountable for everything that they did, whether it be in condemnation or in, whether it be, by our words we will be acquitted, and by our words we will be condemned. And our actions and our hearts and everything else, we will all face judgment for everything that we've done, good and bad, in this entire life of ours. And the intentions and the heart posture behind it, all of that. He knows already, and maybe he's already started on you now, whether it be rewarding you and giving you some of the, the harvest from what you've reaped, or like, maybe you started already receiving some of that as you should, it's not promised, but it's definitely a possibility. And it's also not promised, but it's also a possibility that you're receiving God's wrath in this life too. It's on a case-to-case basis, and he can do that, and he's really good at it too. He's not just flexing his muscles going, I might not. It depends on how I feel today because I'm the boss. No. It's all very systematically, not in the other people's way, but in a way of like he knows best. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. They are higher than ours, and we don't understand it. But I understand him enough. I understand him enough to know and trust that it is all for his glory, for the best. And if you will submit to him, ultimately, now, but when it's all said and done, it's going to be in the best for you too. However, if you refuse to submit to your life to him, surrender to him, repent, confess your sins, stop hurting his children, stop destroying everything that was put in place by him and through him to stop. I'm almost done. And the thing, see, I lost and I really was wrapping it up here, and I'm going to, but I was really going somewhere with that. I wanted to close it out with that, is that if you continue to walk in disobedience and not only disobey him and go, and sin against him and yourself and live a life like that, but then also hurting, in the effect that your life and your decisions have on his people, everyone in your life around you that are his people that he loves, his children, there will come a day where there will be no other choice. You will face the consequences of those actions, as he said that you will. And he's warned you, he's told you, his word is his word. It will never go out and come back void. And it's all going to come to pass. So don't you think if you were God, if you had to discipline, if it got to the point where the chance had, the opportunity had left, and this is what has to happen, wouldn't it be easier if it was under the pretense of like this person that just kept on and kept on and kept on and kept on, and the crimes were more heinous, the offenses were worse. Just everything made it more and more despicable. Wouldn't that make you feel a little better with the less than ideal situation of having to, lay down that law, discipline in the whatever way, it's coming, I feel like even though it is what it is, no matter how you cut it, I don't want to be the one that has to deal with the rotisserie chicken guy, because that's a dick move, He's doing all that stuff. It's not right. He's getting arrogant. He thinks he's untouchable, But what if, God forbid, he gets in a car, I don't know, something changes his life, changes his heart. He has a total turnaround, and he's not doing great in life now. He's not, living it up in that sense, but maybe he's settled down actually. Maybe he found a single mom that's struggling to make ends meet, and maybe they're drug addicts. Who knows? Maybe, regardless of who they are, maybe people just have to eat. I really don't want to be the one. And oh man, then he's got this cute little kid with him. And then the kid's got candy. Like one of those little, not even like the kind of candy that's like, dude, that's peanut M&Ms. You got to give them back. You still, I know they're open, but still, it's principle, You're not going to get back one of those little popsicle, those little, what do they call, like the pacifier, like syrup, no, you stole it. You're going to hell too. No, I shouldn't say the joke. But like, I shouldn't get carried away with my storytelling, and I can edit this out. I say that a lot now these days. Thank God I never lived my life that way up until now. Sorry, God. Just go ahead and edit that out. That's actually, it's not a joke. It's not like do what you want to do and then be like, oh, you didn't see that. It's not like that, but it makes it a lot easier to talk freely and live my life freely, knowing that, yes, I may make mistakes from time to time, but when you truly have a relationship with God, you don't want to sin. You don't want to rebel or be disobedient to him or disappoint him or let him down or not walk in obedience and love and walk with him. And in a way that he can't be in your presence, even if you're living a life that's not, at least trying to be upright, So if a person asks you, and even, it doesn't matter what level, like where you are in your walk with Christ, where you are in your spiritual, growth and your relationship with him and everything. Everybody grows at, it's a process. It's a lifelong thing, But regardless of where you are with that, the one thing that you can tell anybody else that's curious, or if you ever just, the thing is, it's like, what is the thing? Because I just got sidetracked 2 different times. Anyway, okay, I'm not even going to try to go. The thing is, if someone wants to know, if someone gets bogged down, now look, I get bogged down with every detail of everything all the time. Because that's how much I love God and want to know him. I'm that kid. I'm sorry. I'm like, why? Well, tell me, how do you, so that's what you do? Well, tell me about it. So what about this? God, I want to know everything about you. I want to understand you. I want to know, because everything that I learn, why you do what you do, it makes me see this whole new level of depth and how just it mesmerizes me. And to me, that's, well, I'm not saying to me, no, it is actually very much different than being but why? Well, so, okay, so never, you can't cheat on your husband? Never. Why? Well, what if this? Well, what if you did? That's different. That's asking why. I was telling the neighbors about when I minored in Spanish in college, and I used to get so annoyed I ask why about everything all the time. Everything. But I got so annoyed because that's the one time that I was just like, why are you asking why? Like, because you're not being curious. You're not trying to seek and gain understanding so you can speak the language more fluently. You're just being an asshole. Why? So you say, like, the dog green. Why? It's the green dog. No, it's not, because you're not in America. You're not speaking American anymore. You know, it just frustrated me because I was like, don't ask that, you know? So, but so anybody that gets bogged down on the details like that, like, wait. So you're telling me that, like, if this was liquor, I could, like, drink this whole cup right now, and then I could just, like, kick my dog, and then, like, go steal a car, and have fun, and then be like, God, I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? Is that, like, that's what you're saying, right? Like, no. I'm asking you. Like, is that, like, they're trying to catch you in a loophole. And that's fun and games and everything, but, like, it's not. I mean, I'm not going to ever celebrate stuff like that because I'm like, no, God doesn't operate on loopholes. God doesn't work on technicalities. I mean, his word is his word, but, like, if you want to do that, if you want to catch me on a technicality, oh, no, that is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you're asking that, so there's a process and there's steps and they're in a particular order for a particular reason. So if the first step is accepting Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and inviting him into your heart and sacrificing your life to him, submitting to him, and relinquishing all control that you were seeking to have that you weren't really able to obtain anyway, like, that's just the beginning. That is literally just like the I'll do a 5K. Yeah, I'll sign up. We don't even know what size shirt you wear. We don't even know how many of those people actually really even show up, you know? And then, like, from the, you know what I'm saying? So, like, no, you are not even close to the starting line. You're not even, like, close. That is the first step. Now, granted, it is absolutely huge. You know, I mean, and that, like, the analogy with the cake baking, where it's like, all the ingredients are equally as important, because, like, it doesn't matter if it's even the cake mix itself. If you don't have the eggs, like, the cake's not gonna, you have to have all the ingredients. Well, I guess in a way that's how salvation is. You really have to make sure that you're doing all the steps. You know, you really don't want to just get it right, because it's kind of important. It's kind of like eternity, you know, type deal. But really though, I wouldn't say any of the steps are more important, but I will say the biggest and maybe most challenging, or maybe most celebrated, in my opinion, or it should be, or like just the act of surrendering your life and confessing or professing, or both, before God and before the church or your loved ones, or you know, someone, you know, sharing that, saying, professing that I believe that Jesus Christ died for my sins, and I believe that because of that, I am, by his blood, you know, I'm healed. My sins have been as far removed from me as the east is from the west, and his stripes, you know, are my, by his stripes I am healed, you know, and like, I invite him into my heart. I want him to be my Lord and Savior. I surrender my life to him, and I want to walk with him from now and forever, and I want to never live that life that I used to live. Everything else from that point on is just, like, it's just as important. It's just as, and it's fulfilling, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful, but that first step is a doozy. It can be, you know? I just don't want to ever downplay it. But I also don't want to put it up on a pedestal to where, you know what I mean? Like I said, like, it's just something that there's no reason to question it. Because if you, okay, step one, check. Okay, you did. Okay. Well, if that's true, then you're never going to ask those questions. You're just not. Now, I mean, yes, we're going to wrestle with sin and make mistakes and stuff. So, I mean, there may be a time where you're like, wait a second. Like, I did this, though. Like, I did this. Like, it's really, really bad. There's no way he's going to forget. I mean, I have to do something, right? Like, I have to do something to get back in good with him, right? Like, I could understand having some, like, guilt as far as, like, you're not going to accept Jesus into your life and then be like, tomorrow you're going to, like, not have sin in your life ever again, or like pretty much be like almost righteous. It's not, doesn't work that way. So, but that's the point, is that like you can't have the guilt ever. You have to let it go. You have to. That's the step one. That's part of it. The easiest, most simple, most basic, fundamental, just no-brainer, common sense. You know, you could have, like, you could write it out in like stick figures, like a bathroom, like a girl with a skirt, or like the, you know, just like, you know, it would just be the stick, her hands would just be up, or his hands would just be up, or whatever pronoun they go by. Or like the person would just, like the black little icon, like not being raised. I just hit like, you know, like jab, like a, just like this, like surrendering to God, like, you know, it's really that basic. Like, that's really all it is. Yet, simultaneously, it is huge, and it is everything, and it's so complex, and it's so beautiful, and it's so valid. It has to be for sure, for everything else to even make a, you know, I mean, it just is all contingent upon that, you know. When I was a personal trainer, people would ask, like, they would ask questions about, what's your take? What do you think about, what's your take on fasted ab workouts in the morning? Do you fasted, or, you know, what's your take on that? I'm like, my take on that is, in order to get to a point where you have perfected and honed in and have a skill that you have crafted so precisely, and so, like, you are so deep in it that you are at that level, you wouldn't even be asking me for advice right now, because I'm not even to that level. You know, the majority of people aren't even able to go to a gym 2 to 3 times a week, even just make it there. I mean, literally, like, you have people that want to change their whole life, and January 1st, they're hitting the gym, you know, and they can't keep it up consistently a few times a week for even a few months from the beginning of the year. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying, human beings as a whole, like, that's just not our nature to be like, yeah, I want to do something that really the only benefits is, like, it benefits me. Like, and yes, I could get obsessed with it and see, and it could get to that point, but I mean, what do you do to even get there, you know? It's just not in us to want to do that just because it's just the right thing to do, you know? No, we'd rather, like, go home and eat cake, you know? So, to do something like that, tell me how you would even get people to just do that successfully, you know? And if you can tell me that, then I would love to have a conversation with you about how, you know, the difference or the benefits of weighted or body weight abdomen exercises, you know, and whether or not it being fasted, how much of a difference that makes, you know. I would love to, because the human body, that's just like everything else. It's a whole thing that fascinates me. I'm truly just mesmerized and amazed by how complex it is, and how people actually devote their lives, their entire, that is their skill, that is their art, is, you know, sculpting. I mean, it's very, very cool, you know. So if you want to have a conversation about that, I would love that, you know, and we can talk as deep, we can get really deep with it, you know. But if you're asking me because you're catering that to your workout routine, because you are like, you've been working out for a few months and you've been following these people on Instagram, and like, you just want to, like, that's fine. That's what Prophet Lovey refers to as, like, foolish zeal. You know, it's the same thing in walking with Christ. It's the same thing. It's not, you know, it's not wrong, but you just need to be cautious because you don't want to get bogged down with the details to the point that you miss the fundamental, most basic, most important aspects of it, which is just a relationship with God. I'm not saying just, but going to the gym in itself. You know, don't get so bogged down with all that stuff that you end up sitting in your car in the parking lot at the gym, scrolling through Instagram, watching people flexing their abs for 3 hours, and then you realize that, like, your gas light's on and you've got a meeting and you don't even go to the gym. You know? Get you a solid foundation and then build on it from there. And with God, you know, like I said, he's not a loophole God. Now, he is a man of his word through and through. I mean, not like no exceptions, you know. But he's also not going to get bogged down with the details, because the details are just, I mean, everything is just everything to him, you know. So he's not sitting there like, oh, like, I don't know, like, if the kid was hungry and the candy, but, like, was the rotisserie chicken for them? And, like, oh, this is a tough one. Oh, man, I got to really wrap my brain. That's not how God operates, you know? However detailed the situation is, I mean, ain't no thing for him. He will handle it through and through. No stone left unturned, all of that. But it's not going to get him bogged down like it does us, because he's not like us. We're not like him. We're not capable of that like he is, you know. So that's why I think it's so important that we just, you know, you understand that, is that who would want that? I mean, if I told you right now that, like, you and I could be best friends and, like, you could punch me in the face anytime you wanted. I've been on a kick with that tonight, huh? Maybe subconsciously I want to be punched in the face. I don't. Not because I'm the fear of the unknown. You just get tired of stuff. You just get burnt out on stuff. You know, it's like, can you punch me some? Anyway, I should be done now. Anyway, this is it. This is really it. Chill. If I were to say that, you know, no, I'm serious. Like, to me, that's what being a good friend is. Anytime. Just punch me in the face, catch me off guard, surprise me, tell me about it, put it on the calendar, whatever. Just do it anytime you feel like it. You don't have to, but you can. Who wants to be in a friendship like that? Who wants to do that? I mean, somebody probably would. Actually, no, people usually don't like when you take away when you give them the freedom to do it, or, like, you know, you kind of take away the control of, like, you don't, you know, I say I can, you don't say I can, you know, like that, Amy. But regardless of all that, that's not the type of relationship he wants to have with us. It's the balance that is really, it just exceeds our comprehension. Pretty much it just does completely. But what it is best I can describe it and understand and articulate it. And I'm not saying I can achieve this, or I'm just saying from, like, my vantage point. It is the fine line between, you're going to take me seriously or don't. But if you're going to take me at all, it's going to be in a serious capacity and to the full extent of who I am and what that entails. Some things are not negotiable. Get over it or bye. There's a fine line between that and if I'm standing over you all the time going, what are you doing? What are you doing? You better not be doing that. Don't you do that. Don't you mess up. Are you sure? You're a bad person. Well, you're a bad person if you think. You know, fear, respect, all of that stuff. The lines get blurry. I know. Fortunately, though, they don't with God. When it comes to God, the comfort that I get. If you have not noticed, if I have not given you any indication yet, let me just, you know, shock you and you're really going to be floored by this. I really like for things to make sense. I really like to understand things and for them to, I understand that a lot of things don't, but I need to understand why they don't. How about that? You know, I don't live my life frustrated. I've accepted and, you know, adjusted accordingly to the shortcomings of humans and our inability to operate in that sense. A lot of times we are emotional creatures that think, you know, sometimes primitively, sometimes out of ego, sometimes out of just sheer idiocracy. So we don't have that as our strong point. We're not computers, we're not robots, and we're not God. And I'm not comparing him to that. I'm just saying the only thing that could even, you know, like replicate that or even kind of just like come close to comparing to his level of, you know, just consistency and, you know, just consistency and accuracy, you know, and just boom, every time, you know. I think AI or whatever would be the only thing that would even begin to compare, and it doesn't. But it's comforting to me so much. As a person who craves and just, not even craves, but just like fully appreciates, truly, just like in a museum of just gazing out at a beautiful piece of art and just appreciating it for what it is, you know, just a creation from somebody's mind and from their soul that they laid out there in a way that's just so intriguing and beautiful and all those things. To me, that's how I feel about his ability to navigate and integrate and literally possess every aspect on all ends of the scales. Everything from discipline and wrath to love and compassion and forgiveness and understanding to nurturing and tough love and just, you know, it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And for somebody like me who has fully accepted that, like I said, it's just not something that you're ever going to really get from humans. The best I can do, the best I've been able to do is just really, I'm about as good as I can be at navigating and being prepared and understanding and accept, like, just seeing, predicting and knowing and foretelling like when it's going to happen and preparing and adjusting to it. It's just like the why the green dog. It's like, why? I'm not going to do that anymore. I can't, you know. But what makes me happy is that knowing how exhausting it is once you accept that humans are never going to be consistent and logical in any of those things, and they're going to operate on emotion, and it's always going to be catastrophic, you know. Someone that does not on any level want or will not allow that, you know, for my life, you know, or not, I mean, that was kind of harsh, but yeah. For someone who I know how exhausting it is to actually do everything in your power within the, you know, confines of like not being a control freak or like, you know, letting it control you. It's exhausting to navigate a life going, ducking and dodging all of people's inconsistencies and ego-driven motives and, you know, all those things. And I do it too, so I'm not saying that I don't. I'm not saying like, oh, it's just so hard out here being the only person that, no, I'm just saying like, I decided a long time ago, I'm not going to operate like that to the best of my ability. And I can't make other people make that change, and I can't make them, you know, do things the way I began. You know, I've kind of slowly transitioned into this new way of thinking and living my life and reacting and interacting with people. And I'm not only can I not make people follow my lead, but I wouldn't want to, you know. So the only thing I can do is change my, you know, the ways in which I navigate either through or around or, just coinciding with people, It's exhausting, and it's almost, it is some days, or sometimes in my life, it's just felt like a pointless, like it's just like, why even bother? But I haven't given up, and I know that, it won't be long until I will fully be able to even more so than now, because I'm getting a good, I'm experiencing it, enough to know. I've watched like the extended trailer, So while I don't know fully what it's like to experience that, consistency and the stability that only God is able to offer us, and like the capturing both ends of the spectrum and everything that is good in love and justice and discipline and fellowship and all those things, I've seen enough to know that like it's going to be so nice to just get up there and just kick my feet up and just be like, what, am I not supposed to kick my feet up? No, it's okay. I know, because I've dealt with people my whole life that I've had to wonder, oh, they do it. And I'm just so glad to finally be to the place where I know everything is exactly how it says it. Everything is what it is. We are who we are. And I can just only go, I can't wait for that day. I hope that, I'm saying this kind of in a joking way, but if for whatever reason names are called in a order that has me at the end of the line, because, W or W, depending on, whatever happens between now and then, with my maiden name being a B, I'm really thinking way too much into this. The point that I was making is that I would love to see a lot of people, a lot. I have a lot of patience. So I'm telling you, I would not at all. It would not bother me one bit to sit there for hours or days. I don't care. If I got to sit there and wait for all these people's names to get called before me, in the presence of Jesus, in the presence of God, and the angels and the trumpets and all that stuff, as it's going on, as it's going down, as this thing's really kicking off, I'm fine with that. I would rather that, honestly, because I know that there's, humility and all that stuff is like, that's the only really option at that point. But I just have this picture of me. I'm just like, girl, if they call you first because those are first or last, or because B's and W's or whatever, if you get called before a lot of people, like you better make sure that your poker face, not even your poker face, but like be humble about it, because people might see your excitement and they might take it for you being like, ha, ooh, peace out, Girl Scouts. And I might really be like that. But it will definitely not be because ha in your face. It will be because there's only going to be one face that's going to ever, who? I'm not being mean when I say this, but I feel like he's a lot more photogenic than this picture really portrays. Because I saw a picture of him, like a sketch type deal, earlier this year. I'm not even going to go any further than that, because it was like staring into his eyes. It was like on sackcloth or something. It was, I swear, it looked like they sat there and sketched it and like framed it in his presence. Like, that's how old the material looked. That's how, I stared at that painting, if you even would call it that. I stared at that sketch for like a long time, like 30 minutes probably. Really. At a person's house that I had just met. And they were not even in there anymore. And I was just like this. Like just a battery. It was like, I felt like those were his eyes. I really did. Shit.